welcome to Scrap Value. I watch a lot of paper crafters on YouTube, and when they come on, I look at their projects and I think, oh, that is so cute. But the thing on my mind is always, I wonder if it's quick and easy. So I have a project to share with you that I guarantee is quick and easy, and oh yeah, it's cute too. So if you'd like to see what I'm talking about, then stick around and find out what's up. So today I'm sharing with you this little folio. It is 3.5 by 6, and I call it a little brag book because it's small and you can stick it in your purse, even a small purse. You could carry it along. And I call it a brag book because you can tuck inside photos of your family. So when you're out and about, meeting with your friends, you can show them photos and brag about your family. But you can also use the pockets to keep things that you need when you're out and about. Stamps, receipts, shopping lists, you name it. So there's a place for photos and some tuck spots. And this is so simple. You make it with envelopes, and you can make your own envelopes, or you can use envelopes that you already have, and you could just use, like white envelopes and then decorate it the way you like. This one that I have made here, I use my envelope maker. And I'm going to show you how to make this. This one I made using paper from a leftover project. It was Graphic 45 paper, the Imagine collector pack. Just beautiful papers in this collection. And I have enough papers here to make another one. But I also have another Graphic 45 collection with some leftover papers from a leftover project. This one is Graphic 45 Come One, Come All. These papers have kind of a carnival theme or circus theme, classic carnival, vintage carnival. I love these papers. So I'm going to use this paper to show you how to make a little brag book. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so you'll need 5 or 6 sheets. If you want to make it the size I made, you'll need 8" by 8" paper. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go around the edges of my papers, and I'm going to ink them, give them kind of a distressed look. I believe this is Tim Holtz Distress Oxide. The color is Stormy Sky. I also used it on this little book I already made. If you can see the little blue edge around there, that is this color. So what I do is I just take my little blending tool here, I ink it up, and I just go around the edges of my paper, all 4 sides. And then after I cut it into an envelope, then you have to finish up with some of the areas where you've punched out. But for now, I'm just going to go around the edges of my square paper, and I'm going to do all of my sheets here. And so I will come back when I'm done doing this. Okay, I've inked up all the edges of my papers, and so now I'm going to use my We Are Makers envelope punch board and turn all of these 8 by 8 decorative papers into envelopes. And then we're going to put our envelopes together. Very little glue is needed. Let's get started. Okay, I know from my scoring guide here that for 8 by 8" paper, it will make a 3.5 by 6" envelope, and I need to score at 3 1/8. So the 3 1/8 mark, here's 3, 1 notch over, right there is where I'm going to start. Now, if you remember, you only have to measure this once. and then you do the other sides, just lining up your score lines. So you line up with this left-hand corner with the 3 1/8 mark, and then you punch here, and then you take your scoring tool, you put the tool in this little slot right here, and then you score along that slot all the way up to the other edge of the paper. Okay, then you turn your paper 1/4 turn, and you line up that score line that you just made here with this little knob right here, this score guide. So you just line that up, and you just do the same thing. You put your tool in the little score notch here, and you score up your paper to the center of this little cave right there. Oh, and you punch. Don't forget to punch. Okay, that score line you just made is going to be right here. It's going to be your mark. And you're going to line your score guide up. And then you're going to move up your paper like this. There's my cat. You better get down, Rusty. Well, he's okay for now. And don't forget to punch. 1/4 turn again. You do your thing again with your scoring tool up the side of the paper. And don't forget to punch. Okay, so then the next thing you do, you have your envelope punches, but you're going to round the corners. This is where you punch the notches, but to round these corners, you stick it in the top of the punch board. And make sure that you get it in there and that it's even on both sides, so you get a nice rounded corner. So that one is kind of flat on one side. That's better. So you put each corner in the top punch, and you punch. Okay, I got them all. Okay, so this is what I meant when I said after you do these punches, then those edges are not inked. So just real quickly, I'm going to go in these little grooves and around the corners, just so I have all my sides inked up. So I'm going to put the smaller triangles up and down so that my book will be, the short way will be the width and the long side will be the length of the book. So you fold those down. The side folds over. And then I don't want this piece to be my cover. If I wanted this piece to be my cover, I would leave this edge to fold over this way as the cover, but I do not. So this top or this side piece on the left folds backwards, and you'll see why in a minute. Now, if this bothers you, and it does kind of bother me, this piece hangs over too much here. So I want to trim that from there to there. See, I'll show you in the book. See, I trimmed each piece of my envelope. And I like that look better. You can leave it like this. That's okay. You could leave it like that. I'm going to trim it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little straight edge ruler here, and I'm just going to draw just a little faint line. Well, maybe a little darker than faint so that I can see it. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim that piece out. Okay, so of course you need to ink that side up because you cut that out. So, and you don't need to do the other side, but I always do. I don't know why. It doesn't take any time, and who knows? You never, at the last minute, you may decide to use the opposite side of your paper. I'm not going to because it's just a bunch of cut aparts. I'm going to use this side. Okay, so I'm going to do this exact same process on each one of my papers. I'm going to cut, punch out the envelope, and then I'm going to fold and cut out this piece, and then I'll come back when I'm all done with that. So I have all of the papers made into envelopes that I want to use for my little mini brag book here with pockets. And I have them in the order I want them, but I'm going to take these apart and show you how I glue the envelopes and then how I put the little brag book back together. So now remember, when you make your envelope, you want the pocket in here, so you're not going to glue this whole thing down. You're just going to glue along the bottom of the right hand flap. And I just need to figure out what I did with my glue. Found it. Okay, so I'm just going to put the glue along the bottom, the pocket, the right hand flap. You just want to put it up the side of the bottom of the right hand flap. And then you adhere it down like that. So you want this open. So you don't want to put glue under this part. Okay, so now this is going to be the cover of my little book. This is the piece. This piece over here is going to fold over to close the book. Okay, so then the next piece will go right in here, and then each piece after that is going to go right in the bottom. Okay, so first let's make the envelope. I'm not going to do what I did before. I'm not going to put glue where it shouldn't be. Stop right there. And then do the other side, the top of the right hand flap, but just along the side, the top and the bottom, not the very side, not this short side. And then flip that over, adhere that down. Now, one more thing I'm going to do. I've decided I'm going to also ink around the very edge of the envelope after I create it. So these, after you fold the envelope, those edges have not been inked. So now I've got the edges of my folded envelope also inked up. So this piece goes right in there. Push it all the way down. Make sure your envelopes are creased really well. Otherwise, I'm afraid the little brag book will get too bulky and won't close well. So you might want to take your bone folder and make sure you have a nice crease to the envelope. Like that. Now when you put this together, each piece is going to go the same way. Okay, so this is going to fit right down. This flap here is going to fit right down in like that. And then when I get all the pieces in, then I'm going to go back and put some glue behind each piece just to secure it down. But I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, so then the next envelope, I'm going to put glue only where I should, not along the far right edge, just along the top and the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to adhere that down. To make my pocket. Give it a good crease. Take my inker, go along the edge. Okay, and then you're going to do this the same way. You're going to take the flap, the top of that envelope that's folded backwards. And take that flap, and you're going to stick it behind the page before it. Get it down in there really good. Okay, so far so good. Next page. Okay, and then this is the last page to go in, which you will see once the cover flap folds over. And so I was careful to choose something that I liked. This pattern with this pattern. I liked the similar colors. Okay, now we're ready for this top flap to fold over. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give this edge a little crease here to make a little bit of a binding here. And I'm going to do that by just pinching it with my thumb and forefinger on both sides. Okay, I'm going to go in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little glue behind each piece. I'm not going to take it out, and I'm not going to put the glue all the way down. I'm just going to reach in and put some glue partway down, and then adhere that down like that. And I'm going to do that for each page. So next page, I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to put some glue. Actually, that was the last piece. It was the last one. You only have to do those 4 pages. Okay, so here's what we got. First page, here's your first pocket. And if you don't want a pocket on the first page, you could cover this with something else, another matching piece. But, I mean, I kind of like it. Second page. Second and third page. So first page, second page, third page. Fourth and fifth pages. The pockets. Last 2 pages. So see how you could put pictures here, adhere pictures, and then you could use the pockets for inserts. So it's kind of a combination brag book and carry along organizer. Let me show you what I mean by putting inserts in those pockets. I'm just gonna trim these pieces. You can find a place to tuck these in. Or you could decorate your pages with them. You know, that might be kind of fun, just to adhere it on this side and leave this open so you still have your pocket. You could fancy your book up any way you like. I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and fancy up my book, and then I'll come back and show you what I did to decorate my little mini brag book here. So this is the final product. This is my mini brag book, a book made with envelopes, and this is how I finished it and decorated it. I decided to add a ribbon to close the book. I added an ephemera piece here, a thick chipboard ephemera piece that says Admit One. I added these cute buttons. Mostly I just wanted to cover up the ribbon on top. And on the inside, I added this little ephemera piece. I glued it only on one side and tucked some little tickets in there. It just kind of shows how you can use this to carry stamps or something small here. In the first pocket, I just added these cut aparts. They can be used for little photos, little photo mats. This one says attractions, prizes, rides, games. This one says see the magic show. So those are cute. You could put them in the pocket on whichever side you want to show. This is another little cut apart that I adhered and left open on the side. I added this piece here, but I only glued it at the top and the bottom so that a photo could be slid behind it. And I just added this little piece of the packaging to show how you can just slip a photo behind there. And I added this fun piece on top. On this pocket, I added this cut apart. I adhered it, left it open over here, and then tucked in some little photo mats. This one says amazing on top. This one says thrilling. Those were just little ephemera pieces that I got with the collection. Perfect for wallet-sized photos. So perfect for a little brag book, right? To include some little wallet-sized photos. Tucked those in that pocket. Here's a place for a photo. I left this open at the top to stick a photo behind there. You could add a little title there, a little journaling note there. In this pocket, I just tucked in a blank card, and I added this ephemera piece here, left it open on this side so as to leave the pocket open, just a spot for a nice photo. Perfect size would be a 3 by 5, I should say. The entire width is 3.5, so a 3 by 5 photo would be perfect there. A photo mat. You could put 2 photos, one on each side. And then I added this ephemera piece, which is a clock, to the back page. Actually, that's the second to the back page. The back pages, I adhered this ephemera piece, but only on the sides and the bottom. Left it open at the top here to create this little pocket and tucked in a few cut aparts. I think that looks so cute, just to show how you can slip, you know, a book of stamps or receipts or photos. You could even adhere a photo here, but then you could still use the pocket to tuck in whatever. The very last pocket, I just tucked in a cute ephemera piece. You could put a photo here, and it's got these cute decorative openings here, so you don't even have to use glue. You could just adhere your photo into the decorative slits here, and then you could just enjoy this side, or you could add another photo. So that is the book, and then it just closes up. Just tie the ribbon into a bow, and that's how I finished my little brag book. Like I said, quick, simple to make. You can make these any size depending on the size of your envelope. I've actually made a total of 3 of these little brag books so far. 2 of them just close with a belly band here, and then this one I tied the ribbon. So I hope you enjoyed watching. A great project for a beginner. And if you have any questions or comments, I'd love you to drop them below. I hope you'll like and subscribe if you are so inclined to do so. Helps my channel. I'm still trying to get my channel up and going. It's kind of funny. I just posted a short the other day, just a quick overview of my scrap value craft studio, and I intended for that short to be a minute, but YouTube shortened it to like 10 seconds. So you didn't really get a very good look, but I got lots of views, so it was fun. It was fun to do that. So I'll see you next time, and I hope that's very soon. Bye for now, friends.